Hello and welcome to Career Prep. My name is Matt Studebaker. I'm a lecturer at the Woodbury School of Business. And today we're going to talk about cover letters. Before we get into that, please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on this content later on. It's easier to find, as well as any future content that I do upload weekly. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into cover letters. So why do we need a cover letter? Well, there's some very important reasons why. Number one is it's really beneficial to help customize your qualifications to meet the specific needs of the job or company. Resumes are limited by this. You can incorporate that with a good, well-written branding statement in the resume, but ultimately the cover letter is where you can truly customize that content for them. A cover letter also helps you to prioritize the information you want them to see. Whereas a cover letter, they have very strict structures, and it's kind of hard to put stuff where you want to make it more visible. It also helps with ATS, application tracking systems or softwares that they use to screen you. And so if you have this in there, it'll pick up more skills, more keywords that they're looking for. And so it's beneficial that way. And arguably my biggest reason why is very few people actually write a cover letter when they're submitting a job application. And so it just shows stronger interest in the position, and it just gives you a competitive advantage moving into it. So with that said, when do you send a cover letter? You always send it unless they specifically tell you not to, which very few actually do. You just want to send it. Okay. So it's always, my rule of thumb is always, always, always. Okay. It's a missed opportunity to demonstrate these characteristics that you're seeing here. So kind of going over some cover letter statistics here to kind of drive home this point. 86% of executives polled said cover letters are valuable when evaluating job candidates. So when not many of them, as you see here on Indeed specifically, 10% or less of the average 250 application pool for those that actually apply for jobs on Indeed, the average application size is 200 to 250. Less than 10% of them actually submit a cover letter. Yet, overall, only you see on the industry, it's about 26% they'll see on average that will submit a cover letter for positions. But if you look here, it says, but to those recruiters, those same recruiters, they consider them crucial to the hiring decision. Okay. And this is again reciprocated here with the fact that 56% of recruiters want a cover letter attached to resume. I know they don't require it, and it's kind of one of these unspoken rules, but just know that they want to see it. Okay, that's obviously a majority that want to see a cover letter attached to the resume. Okay, and then 49% of recruiters say that cover letters are the second best thing to actually boost your job application, right behind customizing your resume to the position. Okay, so if you want ways to boost it, obviously customizing your resume, and the next thing is submitting a cover letter. So what does a cover letter look like? Well, there's about 9 different components that are built into it. It's pretty simple. Okay, it's a pretty basic structure. So first of all, you want to make sure that the letterhead is exactly the same as the one on your resume. We want consistency in our brand, because this is a part of your brand. So you want to make sure your brand is consistent. Okay, you don't want different looking letterheads every single document, because it's just confusing and it just kind of looks sloppy. All right. You want to make sure you got the date listed on there. You can have the company name and address if you want to. It's optional. I haven't read anywhere, me personally, with regards to hiring, I haven't been like, oh, well, they didn't submit a company name and address. Like, I don't know if I can hire this person. So it's kind of just like optional if you want to include it. Make sure you have a salutation. And then you want to make sure that you have an introductory paragraph, primary paragraph, which is the middle one where the meat of your cover letter is contained, and then a concluding paragraph. And then you obviously have the closing, like sincerely your name, and enclosure. Okay, so let's kind of dive into the guts of the cover letter here. So kind of breaking this down even more thoroughly. Okay, so before we get started, let's make sure that you're at least double spacing in between the paragraphs. Okay, now some people say it's got to be 4 spaces after the date or 4 spaces after sincerely. It's just up to you. Okay, just make sure that it looks professional. Okay, but in between each section, you want to have at least double spaced. Don't double space the whole document. Just manually click space the enter button twice to double space it. And then after your closing, like sincerely mark, this one, they do want to see 4 spaces here. So just make sure that one does have 4 spaces. That's the only one that's really like super critical that you have it in there. Okay, this is what they would call industry standard. And so you just want to make sure that that is part of it. With regards to the date, please update it. Okay, if we get a date and it's just the wrong date, wrong month, wrong year, things I have seen, okay, it makes it look weird or just it's distracting to us. It could say maybe you have a poor attention to detail, or it could just mean that you're just copying and pasting the same cover letter for every job, which is not good, okay? Like I said, cover letter is optional. You see here it's optional. So some reasons to exclude it. Maybe your cover letter is going to be too long. It doesn't work with the spacing, so just cut it out. It's not necessary. Okay, part 2, make sure your salutation is there, as well as I would really prefer it if you could find whoever it is in charge of that hiring decision and put their name into there. That would be a lot better. It's just more targeted. And then the first paragraph, it's roughly 2 to 3 sentences in length. So the first sentence is you stating that you're applying for the company, state the position that you're applying within that company. And if you did exclude their address, just include basic location where this position would actually be. That's why you can have it as optional, because you can just include it in that first sentence. The second sentence is optional, and it's optional because if you are networking with somebody within that company, this is where you want to state it. And this is one of the big advantages of cover letters, is it helps to promote your network. And so I want to know who they are in specifics. I want to know their name, I want to know their title, and I want to know the department that they work in and why they referred you. So then I can go talk to this person after I'm done reading this. Okay. And then sentence number 3, we just want to make sure this is crucial. We need to make sure we're providing a compelling reason for why you want to work for this company. And you need to state your USP, your unique selling proposition. Okay, if you got years of experience in the industry, you've worked for this company before, maybe you've got specific software knowledge or something that you have that they want. I mean, whatever the case may be, it's got to be compelling. It needs to be unique. Saying it's just like, I'm happy and I want to work here is not unique. Okay. Paragraph number 2. Okay, this is the primary paragraph. This is the meat of your cover letter. This is where the most important content outside the unique selling proposition, the first paragraph there, that last sentence is, this is the most important. You are addressing 4 to 5 specific qualifications that you identified on the application. And each sentence is addressing one qualification. Sometimes you'll see people have like 2 or 3 or 4 or more in a sentence. It just gets confusing and it's disorganized. So just focus on one. So at most you have 5 qualifications you're addressing here. All right. You want to start with preferred qualifications, then move to general ones. So if they're saying, oh, we want a preferred qualification in this, well, then you make sure that your preferred qualification is in there, okay, that you have that one in there as the first sentence, because we want to prioritize your sentences here. We want the most important sentence on the top, the least important of the 5 on the bottom, okay? And so if you have preferred qualifications, they are the first sentences on that paragraph, okay? And if you don't, you just need to prioritize which ones you feel are the most important qualifications to get across. And then lastly is the conclusion paragraph. So we want to make sure that this is 2 sentences. It's the easiest paragraph to write. It's essentially sentence 1, you're just summarizing everything you stated and why this qualifies you for the position, as well as 2, the sentence 2 is where you're asking for an interview and then talking about references. And so if you would just say something, asking for an interview, it can be lots of different things. You can be blunt, or you can just be kind of like around about the way like I have here. Like, I look forward to meeting you and regarding this position, and I'm willing to provide references upon request. If they're not asking for references, this is the only time I will mention I have references, okay? If they're not asking, I'm not giving them my references. This is where I put it. And then I just close with sincerely, my name, please print it. Sometimes people do these and I can't see, like, or if they don't put their letterhead and then they just sign their name, I don't know who it is, okay? And then enclosure. Enclosure just means I'm enclosing this with my resume. Okay, so some verbiage to avoid in cover letters. Don't lie, okay? That includes embellishments. That's the form of lying. It's just a nicer form, okay? And so it's like running 3 times around a track and then saying, yeah, I ran a mile when you're about 1 lap short, okay? And so in 2017, 85% of HR professionals uncovered a lie or misrepresentation on a candidate's resume or cover letter during the hiring process. This is a 66% increase over the last time they did it in 2012. Okay, that's astounding. Please don't do it. If you're worried about misrepresenting numbers, just round down your numbers to a safer number that you know you hit, okay? And then never highlight weaknesses. It's not that you're lying when you're doing this. We're just not wanting to like broadcast all the problems that we have. And it'd be the equivalent if you were driving on the freeway and you wanted to put all of your weaknesses on a billboard. It's just like, why would you do that? I would much rather you focus on your strengths and just don't worry about the weaknesses. Okay. And if you get to the interview and they ask you a weakness question, there's ways to get around that too. We just don't highlight weaknesses. It's a very poor strategy. It just torpedoes anything you're trying to accomplish here. Okay. And then watch out for any of the forbidden kind of verbiage. Okay. Things like I feel, or I think, or I believe. You want to replace it with stuff like I am, I have, I know. Okay. The goal of the cover letter is to display confidence in your abilities to do the job. And these statements like I feel, I think, I believe, they contradict that. There's no confidence in anything used in that. Okay. And if you're worried about arrogance, just remember that the difference between arrogance and confidence is stating facts, evidence, okay, proof. If you can back up what you say, it's not a matter of arrogance anymore. You're backing it up with proof and facts, okay? And that's how and then it just moves into the confidence realm. And then things to remember, always send your cover letter unless you're asked not to, okay? Like I said, always send it. You always want to customize your cover letter to that specific job or company. You can tell people to have a copy and pasted cover letter for every job because there's nothing specific about our company, okay? And it's just kind of a useless cover letter. I'd almost say just don't even submit it at that point. Cover letters are never 2 pages. No one's going to read it, first of all. I'm not going to read a 2-page cover letter if I get it. It's too much content. It's a book, okay? And so 1 page is completely adequate because if you're writing 2 pages, you're showing me that you have a problem with prioritizing the information. Adding more paragraphs than 3 is risky. So I know people will sometimes say 4 paragraphs. Again, you have a spacing problem here and you don't want to run into 2 pages. But usually those that do it, they have like a master's degree or a professional degree of some kind, and they're trying to highlight it. It will typically be the second sentence or second paragraph in the cover letter. And that would be about the acceptable. You just got to be careful about going too far, just because it discourages recruiters from wanting to read it if it's too much content. Cover letters are single spaced. You just want to manually double space in between each paragraph. Okay, if you double space the whole thing, it just looks like an essay. It just looks really bad. Don't do that. And then if a recruiter ever asks you to send a resume to them, I always send a cover letter as the body of the email and with my resume attached. Just a helpful word of advice there. And lastly, please take your time. Okay, this is an important document and it can really pay off well if you take your time writing it. And lastly, to close, I love memes, and these are some of the best memes with cover letters. So I hope whoever invented the cover letter dies a slow and painful death. One to not simply write a cover letter in 15 minutes. Oh, so you think putting emoticons in your cover letter is a clever idea? You must have had so many job offers lined up. Not sure if I'm highlighting my greatest strengths and character traits or bragging profusely. A 2-page cover letter? Ain't nobody got time for that. And how can I say, will do anything for the job in this cover letter without coming across as desperate? With that said, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk.